Hey everyone, and welcome back to All About Sports, the podcast. We're back with another Olympic special, and this time we have a couple of guests, very, very special guests. We have Varun Thakkar and Casey Ganapathy, and it's an absolute pleasure to have them on board. They are going to be going to Tokyo for the Olympics and representing India in sailing. So, firstly, a warm welcome to both of you, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you on board. So, Shubham and I have been waiting for this because this is the first time that we're covering sailing. Honestly, it's a sport that we don't have too much of knowledge about. Generally, we're always so talkative about sports, but this is one where genuinely I think it'll be very good for all the viewers and the audience also to understand, of course, your story and also to share some knowledge about a niche sport like sailing. So, I'm going to let Shubham start off with the questions and let's get right to it.
Hey guys, firstly, thank you so much for joining us. And like Mazhar rightly said, sailing is a sport that we don't know much about, and also like in general, in a country like India, it's not one of the renowned sports, so as to say, or one of the more like famous sports. But because we have you guys, so first of all, what we'd like to ask is, what attracted the both of y'all into sailing? So whoever wants to go first, y'all can. But I'm really curious to understand, like, what was the real attraction or motivation to take up a sport like sailing?
Uh, so, so firstly, thank you guys for having us. It's a pleasure being here. And for me, I actually started sailing very early on, like about 8 or 9, and I never took up to it like how I would want to, and actually got away from it. Tried different sports, went played cricket, football, all of that for a bit, and came back to sailing when I was 10. And I actually still remember this feeling where um, I knew a little bit about sailing since I learned from the past. Um Going down with this really big sea breeze gust and reaching down the wind where the wind is like not 45 degrees, about 70 degrees to your sail. It's one of the fastest ways to go sailing. And that feeling where the boat was like literally planing, and I was like 10 years old. It was exciting, like, to feel that speed. And I'm a bit of a junkie when it comes to speed. I love speed. So yeah, I think that was really exciting for me. And it was more just to have fun. Like we had a really good bunch over the weekend period where Gana, myself, a bunch of the other sailors like Shweta, Hussein, Gerard, Nishant, like the core group that we had, just used to go out on Sunday and race against each other. I think that was the fun bit that pushed like everything. And then uh, and we evolved, like we just kept at it, and every Sunday it was like a ritual where we just go sailing and have fun as kids, like on the water. So I think that's what really sparked the love. It wasn't like I wanted to take it up professionally when I got into it. It was more that I had the love for, like, the speed, being out of the water, having fun with the waves, ocean, and all of that. And that's what really kicked off the thing. And then taking up as a career, me and Gana decided to sail right after Gana's Asian Games campaign in 2010 when he went for the Optimist class. So yeah, me and Gana started sailing in 2011, and yeah, it's been a good 10-year journey, I guess.
What about you, Gana? How did you take up the sport?
So, thank you for having us. A real pleasure. So, I started off when I was around 6 or 7. My classmate, Zefra, her dad took 10 of us from our class, and it was like a picnic kind of situation. And I absolutely loved it from day one. So, every Sunday and Saturday for the next 2 3 years was sailing the Enterprise class of boat, not the Optimist. There are different classes of boats. Further into the podcast, we'll go into that. So the Enterprise is like a two-man boat, but Nawaz uncle used to take Zefra and myself. We were like 2 6-year-old kids, so we add up to being like one human being at that time, and absolutely loved it. Around 8 or 9, I started sailing the Optimist. That's the boat Varun was talking about, where we had that core bunch of all of us were around the same age. Varun and I were probably the younger side of this group, and we had Munna uncle. His daughters used to sail, and he used to be our like club coach, voluntary, of course. and it was absolute fun and pure like racing. Every Sunday we all used to race against us. The good thing was it was just a pure respect to, like, we loved each other. When we went racing, it was all out to win. We were racing for who would get the hose pipe when we came back. We were racing for who won the samosas at the end of the day, stuff like that. So that way we got really good. Plus, like Varun said, as a kid surfing those amazing waves in Chennai get really nice waves in the sea breeze. As a 10-year-old kid taking your boat out, surfing it, you're independent on your own. So for that 4 5 hours you're out on the water, I wouldn't say 4 5, like 3 4 hours, you're totally, like, everything depends on what you do. You're sailing your boat, you're making your decisions, you bring the boat back, pull it to shore, wash it. Great independence that I really loved. And it's just phenomenal. You see like jellyfish, you see dolphins. I wanted to be a marine biologist when I was a kid, then figured out it's like gonna be too hard, so I stuck to sailing. No, but there's quite a bit of studying involved, and I think I just absolutely love the sea, loved sailing. So if that answers the question, that's why I stuck on. And like Varun said, was pretty good at it. And as we've progressed, we've kept doing well. So the results have helped us continue. And the most important thing is we absolutely love training. So even during the tough times when results aren't coming, that helps us continue compared to other people who probably are more. We are absolutely result orientated. Don't get me wrong, but we love the training bit. So unless you love it, you're not going to continue. So that's why sailing.
No, absolutely. It's really nice to know like you guys are passionate about the sport from a very young age. But like, see, sailing is so as to say, like you can say like a niche sport, and it's also an expensive sport. So when you guys are back, like young during your young days as kids, enjoying the sport, playing, being a little competitive, to making the switch to becoming professional athletes, like how did that transition happen? Was it during a tournament, or was it because you got amazing results? But to make that mental switch and to be like, okay, till now we did it, we were passionate about it, we enjoyed it, but now we want to make it into a profession. How did that happen for the, each of y'all?
Okay, so basically, how it worked out was around 12 years old. In fact, both of us started winning events and stuff like that. So I think 2000, uh, 2006 was our first inland Optimus Championship. I think Varun finished second overall there, and I finished second overall under 12. And after that, we've just been like up there in the fleet. 2007 first event that I went abroad representing India, and it kind of continued like that. It was still like semi hobby, semi amateur. In 2009, basically I would say I made the transition of knowing that sailing is going to be a big part, because I left normal schooling and went to open schooling. Reason being, Asian Games had come along in 2010, and we had to be in national camp, and we had to, if you weren't in national camp, you couldn't qualify. So my school would give me only 10 days off for sailing activity, like sporting activity. And I made the decision with my parents and the principal that probably you're not going to go to the Asian Games every day or every year. So focus was fully shifted to sailing, and I homeschooled. Then after that, 2011, Varun and I started sailing together, and 29er also went really well. We did well in Europe. Then 2014, we moved to the 49er, which is the Olympic class of boat, and 49er is really like the jump from under 19 to men's is a proper, it's a proper jump. Like coming from under 15 to under 19, you still have a whole lot of kids who I would call weekend warriors who aren't fully professional. The guys in the Olympic fleet, all of them do this as their job. So if you see in under 19, there's every year that the eldest leave and automatically the younger guys become champion. In men's, it's a saturation pool of talent. So we really struggled when we got into the men's category, and it was really hard. We had to train, we had to put on weight and get better. And it was when our coach Ian Stewart Warren came in 2017 that we started performing, and 2018 was probably where we started doing better in the 49er. So I would say I've come a huge log way. 2010 was probably when we kind of figured out that sailing's going to be main priority.
Was it the same for you as well?
So for me, like I did the youth Olympic campaign when Gana was doing his Asian Games. Because I had progressed, I didn't feel that I could perform the same in the Opti as well as I could in a bigger boat, because I grew a little taller and I put on a lot more weight. And to see sailing and Opti at that time, you had to have like minimum weight, and it was harder for me. So yeah, I did progress. I tried the youth Olympic campaign. I missed out, I think, by like 2 spots. And then Ghana finished, and Ghana was in a dilemma whether to move to a 4.7 or sail a double hander. And then since we both were helms, I obviously see more talent in Ghana. I switched to crewing, and yeah, so in 2011 we both joined hands, and yeah, I think it's been a really good campaign for both of us, because our goals are, we have a long-term goal which has been always the same, to bring back an Olympic medal. And our short-term goals, yes, we do have them, and we have our differences on the way we approach it. But since we know the long-term goal, we put aside all the differences that we have and work on it, and make ourselves better, and we push each other every day. That's, like Gana said, training is what we really enjoy. And I think going out on water every day and just pushing each other and trying new things out and making that jump to seeing that, okay, you think this is better, we try this. I think this is better, we try this, and then speak about it. That's what training days are there for. And then in competition, we're not arguing that this is better or that is better. So that's the mentality that we both adopted during the time that we spent together. And it's been like, I think, since we joined together, the first year we never really saw that much. But because we were still adapting to sailing a 2-person boat, it's a very different ball game. And since we started doing well, the results started coming in the youth classes. Yeah, we switched to, even I dropped out of like school in ninth. I homeschooled as well, like Anna did. And yeah, so it all set together. Like, we both dropped out of school. We both did like the same commitment to the game. And I think that's the result of, all those years that we put in, that we're going to the Olympics in like 2021. So yeah, I think the switch was well back in like 2010, 11 and 12.
When I hear your stories, it reminds me of one person and one person only, and even the mentality you spoke about, Kobe Bryant. That it was this very similar story, right? He left high school and joined the NBA. He had that entire Mamba mentality. I can only remember that. So it's actually pretty awesome to hear your stories and to have the heart to give up, let's say, going to a formalized school and experiencing the everyday life of all students. So firstly, kudos to both of you for taking such a bold move, and well, it's obviously worked wonders. You pretty much summed up the next question I had, Varun, when you mentioned about your goals. That was my next question. I mean, you've already qualified for Tokyo. Now you've said that your short-term goals are to obviously improve, and then also to hopefully bring back a medal to India. I'm going to move into the next question. And Gana, you spoke about this, the 49ers category. So what are the different categories in sailing, and how are these categories made? So if you can just walk all of us through that.
Yeah. So there are 10 Olympic categories. And so there are different types of boats. It's like F1 rallying, like Dakar. It's all car racing. It's all sailing, but it's extremely different. So if I'll first go through the categories. We have the 49er and the 49er FX. That's the high performance skiff. So that's the fastest mono hull in the Olympics. 49er is men, 49er FX is women. In 49er men, you're looking at both men weigh 160 kgs together, and you're looking at agility and quick thinking and fast decision making. The FX is the baby version of the 49er. So to get two girls at 80 kgs is pretty hard. So I think the FX is required weight is around 140 kilograms, and it's the same high performance skiff. You got to be really fit, agile, and because the boats are moving way faster, you have to make quicker decisions. Then you have the 470 men and women. So our boat is called a skiff because it planes on the water. So it skims the water once it starts moving. The 470 is a displacement dinghy. So it goes through the water, and as the wind picks up, it also starts planing. But it's slower. It uses different sails, and both men and women is exactly the same boat. So you need to weigh around 130 kgs, 135. So it's a way smaller team. Like the helm, that's it is around 60 kgs, and the crew is around 70. And I'll come to why these weight categories matter after I go through all the boats. So we finished 49er, 49er FX, 470 men and women. Then you have windsurfing, men and women. I don't know much about windsurfing, but so it's totally different. Like they hold the sails with their hand, like directly. There's no ropes involved or anything. The sails balanced by their body. Our sails are balanced by wires and things like that. So you have 6 already. Then you have the Nakra. It's catamaran, basically 2 hulls, and it's semi-foiling. Like it can foil. That means it's the way a sailboat works is the sideways movement made by the sails is converted to forward movement by foils that go into the water. It's basically boards that go into the water through the hull. Now, in these new boats, those boards that go into the water are like wings. So they make the boat lift. So in sailing theoretically, you can go at any speed, because the faster you go, the more fuel you get on the sails, the more wind hits the sails. The more wind hits the sails, it just keeps going faster. The only thing slowing down a sailboat is the drag from the wind and from the water. Water drag is massive. So once you pop these boats out, a boat that has like a surface area that's touching the water of say 30 feet on a foil just has 2 feet. So it just goes way quicker. So that's the Nakra. It's a mixed men and women semi-foiling catamaran. That's 7 boats. Then you have the fin class. The fin is for really big boys, like 100 kg plus boys. It's a big boat. These guys are huge, like mini giants, and that's 8. And then you have the laser standard, which Vishnu, the other Indian guy who qualified, sails, and the laser radial. So basically the same boat, but smaller version. So the laser standard, you need to be around 82 kgs, radial around 70. So those are the 10 boats. Now, why weight really matters is because these sails that are on a sailboat have an optimal sail shape that you have to run for you to go as fast as everyone else. If you are light for the boat, you flatten your sails quicker than the rest. So it's like running less horsepower than the rest. So automatically you go slower. And if you ask how we control the sail shape, there are many. So the sail is normally on a mast, and the way you bend the mast makes a big difference in that sail shape that you have. Like for us, we have 3 sets of wires. that come down from the mast, and it has a tightening system. The tighter it goes, the mast bends more and the sail opens more. So it's not complicated once you know it, but from outside might seem complicated. Yeah.
No,
The
So
explanation for sure. Just listening to it, it seems really complicated.
I
sorry,
was-
you should like make it simpler.
no, but
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah,
it's what's crazy about it is people don't realize how technical all these sports that involve so much equipment are, right? We talk about
yeah,
Formula One and people's minds go berserk. This
yeah,
sounded, honestly, this was harder for me to comprehend because I've not been following sailing for so long. So,
yeah. So so Formula One is definitely at another level of complex. If you can equate that to sailing, you could go to America's Cup. So America's Cup and Formula One are kind of the same budget and the same like the teams and the mechanics and all of that go into it. So we are more like they have that Formula Renault and stuff. Like it's equally complicated, but we are the mechanics. We repair the boats. We check the tension. We do a lot of like testing between masts because our masts are like carbon fiber, and they cure differently and they bend differently. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into some masts. If you're a light team, you want a mast that bends easily. If you're a heavy team, you want a stiff mast that holds its shape when the wind hits. Yeah. So it's great. We really enjoy that side of things also.
it's awesome. I mean, you have basically have your own fate in your own hands. Whatever goes wrong is you know what goes wrong then, and that's always good to have. And
Absolutely.
much better than Formula One, where suddenly the team can't replace your tire, and then you're just like walking
Yeah.
away in frustration. So it's good to
Yeah.
have be the masters of your own destiny.
I do. It's good and it's bad because at least if it goes bad, you can like shout at somebody. You're the only one you can shout at is each other.
But yeah, and I can imagine how hectic also it is. I'm going to take this
Yeah.
next one to Varun because Gana, you brought this up. Ian Stewart Warren. So you mentioned that he was highly influential. So Varun, how just tell us about your journey with Ian Stewart Warren. We also read about the coaching system that is there. So you wanted to bring him in for your preparation around for the Olympics. So how has that gone about, and will you be are you coaching under him right now as well? So
Yeah. So Ian Stewart Warren, we Dana and myself call him Bunny, and the rest of the sailing world call him Bunny. So yeah, the thing with Bunny, our journey started in 2017 with him, and he kind of brought a lot of light into Ghana and my 49er campaign that we've been doing for the 2020 games. Working with him, he's like been everything that we need on the water, like and on land. Extremely focused person. His work ethic is just insane, and he's been like a father figure on land as well. Like he's spoken about life. He's told us what we need to be doing, how we organize ourselves, what we do for the day. He's so goal oriented, and every day he ticks those boxes off. And if it doesn't tick off, he goes to the next day carrying that box as the first priority. And again, his influence for like we are still working with him. We brought him back because we saw that when we changed coach to Tom, that was our previous coach. We never saw the progress that we saw that Bunny was bringing us, and the abilities and the qualities, and we liked the setups that he brought us, like the way we set our boats up and the way we sailed them was very different from what we were sailing with a new coach, and we were doing well with that. So we went back to what we knew was working for us, and yeah, the results are showing, and we're great to be back working with him, and we hope that the relationship between him and us just keep going on till we win the medal, because this is the fifth team that he's qualified for the Olympics. We are the fifth team. I think he has 2 medals as well under his belt. So his experience is there. His his work ethic, him having like having him by our side is a very, very, very strong card that we have. Like it's like a jackpot for us. I mean, yes, it comes down to both of us as well on the water, but to have someone who's really strong and who knows what he's talking about and giving you the right input also makes a big difference with the choices and the way we go forward.
Yeah. So one thing that I would like to ask is, so Gana, when you were talking about like the different categories, and also like the weight that you have to be at for like different categories.
Yeah.
So for your specific category, what is the weight cutoff that you guys have to maintain? And in order to maintain that weight and to perform at your highest level, what is the sort of training that you guys put yourself through during the like before any competition or during your practice sessions?
Okay, so keep this fun. So when we came into the 49er in 2014, we were around 135 kgs together. So I was around like 65 and Varun was around 70, and so we with the same height, we haven't like grown taller. We put on around probably 27 kgs together. So that's quite a bit of weight. In fact. Uh, the training that was involved was a lot of weight training. And last year in the lockdown, Varun did a lot of work and went from like 78 to 85, which was a massive game changer at this qualifier that just happened. Then, secondly, to keep it fun, in the 2018 Asian Games, we had a coach, Jonas Water. He's an ex-Olympic gold medalist. In fact, he's the Danish. He's going to be our competitor at 2021 from Denmark. He's representing Denmark in the 49er. And we used to, the Games Village, there's a big like dining hall and all of that. So we used to finish dinner and Jonas used to like make us sit and then he would go and get another dinner with like a whole load of like cakes, everything. And once you eat, you don't want to eat. And he used to like put it on the table and like you eat now. so I would say it's pretty hard. Like for us, it's really hard putting on weight because in fact, even in Oman, we went in at around 164 and ended the event at around 160. So, and that's like we're eating quite a bit, like around 3,000 plus calories a day. And so a lot of weight training, a lot of eating, and just like going at it.
So one thing, just out of curiosity, I'd like to ask. Like you mentioned, your weight cutoff for the both of y'all is 135. Am I correct?
No, 160.
160.
160 upwards is what is like optimal.
So 160 is the minimum that you guys have to be.
You can be below that as well and sail, but 160 is like you'll be competitive in the top fleet.
So do you guys like whenever you're going for competition, do you guys like to go in at the same weight or do you all like, is there a strategy behind that as well? Like someone will be a little heavier, a little lighter. Is there anything like that?
So normally, like Varun's a bit taller than me, so he can keep that weight a little more. Normally, at events I'm at around 80 kgs, but in off season, sadly I drop off to around like 76, 77. So the key is I have to be 80 and Varun like 82, 83. Yeah, so we're looking at that. So in sailing, there's no like UFC kind of weigh-in where they say you have to be this. You can rock up at any weight you want, but you're going to go shit slow if you're too light for the boat. So in light wind, you'll do well, but you have to be around 160. You can be heavy and do well in light wind with good technique, but you can't be light and do well in. You can be a few kgs below, but you can't be like 10 kgs below and expect to go as fast as the other guys because talent's the same, the boats are the same, the skill level is the same. Many of them, Jonas started 49er when we started sailing. So we started sailing, not started sailing 49er. So I think this is 20 years of 49er sailing for Jonas. So everything matters. It's attention to detail.
The next question is for you, Varun. So since the time you've got into sailing, how do you see India as a country has progressed in the sport? And what do you feel like is the current infrastructure available for the athletes in India as compared to what athletes abroad get?
Um, actually, a very I so the thing is, in India, the sport has grown a little bit, and hopefully, Netra, Vishnu, Gana, and myself are the next pioneers in it who set the benchmark up there to say that this is the level that we want the sport to be in. We're trying to put India on the map in the world sailing. We're slowly doing it. It's taking longer time than the European culture or the Aussie or the Kiwi culture. But in terms of infrastructure, we don't have the greatest, but we're getting there. It's going to be a slower progress than because it's not a visually interacting sport. Once you get to know the sport, then yeah, it will make a difference. But I think every sport has its cycle, and we understand that. So once we reach a level where we're recognized at, say, being top 10 or top even world number one, two, three, it will change the whole sport dynamics where people's interests come in that, oh my God, like, there's a world champion in a country and we didn't know. Like, it's either going to be that way or you go out there and publicize the sport for what it is. So, in terms of all of these aspects that you put together, we're getting there. And I think Kana, myself, Vishnu, and Netra, we will have to put in a little more of an effort to publicize it, make sure that you guys understand the sport and say that it's safe. And eventually, I think in the next 5-10 years, we'll be up there and as good as any other thing because we have massive coastlines, we have everything that we need to have a sailing center. It's just that one jump that needs to happen. And I'm sure we'll get there eventually in the next 4 to 5 years at least.
We also hope so the same. And one thing that, like you mentioned, is that you guys are constantly trying to push the sport, try and make it more popular, more mainstream, to get people educated about the sport. So likewise, I'd like to ask, in terms of the governing bodies, you have the Sports Authority of India or the Yachting Association of India. What sort of role are they also playing in terms of pushing the sport? Is there any sort of structure in place, or do they have like a long-term vision as to how they want to go about promoting the sport and helping athletes to develop in the sport?
So for me, that's something that we don't get involved in all honesty, because we're as athletes trying to do the best. We have already too much on our plate. But as sailors and as the sport has given Gana and myself, we plan on starting our own sailing school, which should be up and running by this year or maybe the next. But it's not going to be like a big sailing school. It's going to be something small because we know to start, we need to start small. And eventually, as we bring in the revenue and the people and the attention, it will blow up. And we're just going to have to be patient and wait for that to happen. But as the sport has given us, we want to give back, and this is the initiative that Gana and myself do. But in terms of YAI and SAI, they have been massive supporters of us. They've funded us. They've given us a coach for whenever we wanted. They've helped us along the journey. I can't take credits away. So thank you guys. Like, thank you YAI and SAI for helping us and being there for us in times that we needed them. But their long-term vision is something that we don't want to be a part of at the moment, because we want to be game focused and focused on our careers more than getting involved in the political side of it. We try and stay away from it and just let the results do the talking as much as it can. And I think that's the best way for us to move forward. Like, it's rather than getting involved and saying, pointing fingers, it's just like, doing your own thing and helping them join us, or, them helping us eventually by recognizing what we're doing. So I think in that way, this is the mindset that we have when we come to things with going through the political side, or YAI and SAI's long-term vision.
But one thing I
Can I-
must say, is so cool to get to know that you guys are interested in starting your own coaching school, because there's nothing like bringing in the years of experience that you guys have combined and put it towards coaching and developing young athletes and giving them sort of a platform. That honestly is really cool, and I wish you guys all the best in your endeavors.
Thank you. May I chip in here?
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
sure, please.
Yeah, so I just want to say, like, whatever said and done, the four of us currently who've qualified have definitely had it easier than, yes, we've put in a lot, but we've had things better than some of the athletes who came along a few years before us. So, yes, it's not ideal, but you can't go from 0 to 100 immediately. And these guys have supported us. SAI currently with the top scheme, YAI, we've been working with them since 2007, and even our Sports Development Authority. And for us, since 2018, we've been lucky that we've found private sponsors, which has given us the flexibility to hire our own coaches privately, go train early before. So, shout out to all of them. We're truly grateful. Sponsors, Orient Black Swan, TT Group, Radiance, Unifi Capital, Indium, and Merit. So without that, gives us the freedom to hire Bunny when we want, go early, get practice, and it's a whole, like, there's a whole big team behind us. So if you're asking, compared to Europeans and Americans and the oceanic countries, we are behind. But with the sailing school, with like sailing slowly getting to the Olympics, getting Asian Games medals and stuff, it is going to go. It is going to grow and go up. It's there's extreme potential. So we
And
want to
it's
be
really
at the forefront.
it's really heartening to also know that you've had the backing of so many people. Because
And our
at the end of the day,
parents. Sorry.
yeah, of course.
Biggest
Like, of course,
sponsors.
I'm sure at in the 9th standard or 10th standard, taking a decision to be
Yeah.
homeschooled so that you can focus on your career. Obviously, it's your
Yeah.
parents, and then also like such a
Yeah.
big team behind you all. It's very heartening to know
Yes.
that. And now we guys will be
Absolutely.
moving to a fun segment. It's the
Awesome.
rapid fire segment. Now that we're done with the questions, here's the rapid fire. This is our most fun segment. So you guys, like, whatever comes to your head first, just go for it. Just answer. Be candid. Be open about it. So first question for Varun. Varun, what's your favorite movie?
Man. Actually,
Hey, Varun, you can't take so much
I-
time, man.
actually, I have no idea. Like, I actually have a TV show which I'm in love with, but I'll give
Okay,
Peaky
just go for it.
Blinders.
Which
Then.
is the TV show?
Yeah, I'll say Peaky Blinders.
Oh, nice. I in fact want to check it out. I've still not checked it out. What about you, Gana?
I think you.
I would say Godfather.
Yes, I love that. That's my all-time number two after Shawshank. So after Shawshank,
All-time number 2.
I was thinking, and then I was like, no. Shawshank is number one still. That's why it was yeah.
Gana, your favorite actress?
Favorite actress, Hollywood or like anyone?
Whatever.
I'd have to say probably Katrina Kaif in Bollywood and Dua Lipa and like singing. Yeah,
And what about you, Varun?
like
Oh, I think Margaret Robbie. I think she's like.
She's hot, man. She's hot.
She's like. I'm sure.
Gana, your favorite city? And
favorite city, Lake Garda in Italy.
Varun?
Gara in Italy. Like, there's nothing gonna beat that place. It's like paradise for a sailor, I guess.
All right. Varun, your guilty pleasures.
Oh man, there's quite a few. I would say, actually, for the last 3 years, we'll be eating top ramen curry noodles because I haven't been like eating junk for a while. But yeah,
And what about you, Gana?
We probably binge watching Peaky Blinders on Netflix.
You know, Mazhar, you know one thing I really like, Mazhar, when you asked the question to Varun first, what's your guilty pleasure? Gana's reaction was, it's like as if
I was thinking.
I was wondering.
I like
I was wondering if Gana was thinking about Varun's guilty pleasures at that point.
Yeah, probably I was doing that also.
I'm sure Gara just didn't say women or something. But
I wish.
next question is for you, Gana. Which is the
Yeah.
most used app on your phone?
Most used app on my phone would probably be YouTube.
What about you, Varun?
YouTube or Instagram.
Okay. Next question to you, Varun. Favorite waters to sail in?
Gada, Aarhus, and yeah, I think Chennai. Like I love home, so
Ghana?
Home, Chennai is just phenomenal. Even though sometimes you get like a stink, it's fine. I absolutely love it. There's like nothing like coming back home.
Okay, I think this one doesn't necessarily need to be one word. You can give a short explanation to it. Maybe this can be a joint answer as well. Your most memorable moment to date.
Uh, I would say the medal race in Oman, the Olympic qualifier. So basically, long story short, we were on the wrong setup. So the wind was basically a little stronger than we expected. So our boat speed was a tiny bit down. Off the line, we bungled the startup. We were behind. Then on the downwind, we caught up, and then I fell off the boat, and everything was held in a handbag. Luckily, Varun saved it, and we were not qualifying for the Olympics. And finally, we rounded the top mark ninth out of 10. So that's out of qualification. And we had a bomb downwind and we overtook people and we qualified. So we're like, yes, I can't tell you how good it was. Yeah, it was stressful. I've never been so dry in my mouth, even though I was so hydrated. Yeah, so yeah,
Man,
so it was good.
yeah. It's this calamity of errors, and then you finally
Yeah.
found the light at the end of the tunnel. It's
Yeah, thank
amazing.
God.
Thank God,
Yeah.
thank God, thank God. Really makes us feel
Not bad.
proud as if we were there. What about you, Varun? Would you have to say it's the same?
no, actually, I was a little calmer during this one, but I think Asian Games winning the last race, where even then we were out of the medal contention. And actually, that was a kick-ass race. Like, I mean, it was so much fun. Like, we were fast, and yeah, we had to put two boats in between us and Japan and no, not Japan,
Fun.
Oman and South Korea. And we managed to do that, but then one capsized. Otherwise, we brought home silver, but managed with bronze. But I think even that was like a crazy event
Yeah.
and good race. So I think it's both. Like I can't like differentiate between these two, but I think these two are like really good like events and situations in my head. Like I can never forget.
I'm gonna have to go back and find these videos and watch these races for sure.
I don't.
Unfortunately-
Unfortunately, you can't see them, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy you can't because if you guys saw it live, I'm sure my parents would have got a heart attack or something.
Yeah. Our coach.
But,
Sorry.
yeah, but even Bunny almost did, and yeah. So
Yeah, when
Like
he
after
came
we
to
fin-
us, sorry, I keep
go
telling you.
go for it.
No, after when he came to us, he was like, "Boys, I'd rather not use the word, but I really needed a defibrillator." Yeah, he was really, yeah.
Okay, this one is your favorite sport outside of sailing, both of you,
Football.
and
Oh,
favorite
tennis and
team
football.
then. A favorite team then. Got to ask you, favorite club.
So Chelsea.
Oh God.
Your face.
I felt my heart melt a little right now.
Yeah, no,
Whatever.
but I have a good reason. So
Yeah.
it's not. So in 2007, I support Germany like internationally, and Balak was playing for Chelsea, and played a lot of football in school. So hence Chelsea.
It's okay. I
Yeah,
like the
it's-
Germany answer. Then I'll forgive you for
Yeah.
liking Chelsea's.
Yeah.
What about you, Varun? You said lawn tennis. So favorite
For
tennis
me,
player, maybe?
Yeah, Nadal.
Let's
And,
go!
football,
Let's go! Yes!
yeah,
Finally, a
football,
non-Federer fan. I'm so relieved. I'm so relieved.
So, Varun, your favorite childhood hero?
Oh man. I actually don't know. Like, are you talking about cartoons or something like that?
No, I'm talking like real life.
Oh, real life hero. I think my dad. When I was a kid, for sure, but then as I got older, I think that's changed. When I was a kid, yeah, for sure.
What about you, Gana?
So growing up, it was I really watched a lot of like videos on like YouTube and stuff, and definitely Nathan Outridge. He was a legendary 49er sailor, so definitely I would say him. But I try and find motivation from like many things. Sometimes you see like really hardworking people who aren't making it, and you're like, damn, even though like they aren't getting all the praise and like they're not getting the recognition, but they're grinding, which is phenomenal. Like my mom, she works probably the hardest worker I know, and tough life. Like I live a way better life, but try and find motivation from everything. Like Kobe, Floyd Mayweather, then David Goggins, just
You spoke about
phenomenal.
childhood, Kana, not your old age when you're like an old fart.
Yeah. No, but
No, but yeah,
yeah,
I think Kobe is someone who's his
yeah,
story is also remarkable. It's
phenomenal.
very motivating.
Yeah,
And
even MJ.
yeah,
MJ for sure.
yeah. And with this is the first time ever we guys are introducing a section within the rapid fire, because we've never
Okay.
ever had an interview where we've had two athletes simultaneously. So this section is, how well do you know your teammate? Okay, just a few questions.
Yeah,
So
cool.
basically,
Terrible.
I'll be asking you a question to answer for Varun, vice versa. Okay.
Not like that TikTok thing of pointing.
When we don't sign up for cringe things, that's not our game. That's not our game.
So
I
you know
don't do
what
that.
Gana's
Let's
into
see.
now. You know what Gana's into.
The first question is for Gana, and you have to answer for Varun.
Yeah,
Varun's biggest pet peeve.
pet peeve. Worse than mean. Sorry. Like,
Like the most annoying thing or something like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, Varun's biggest pet peeve. Sometimes on the boat, things ends like unburned and stuff. It kind of like gets to me. Like I like things perfect. I would say that. Like he's pretty chilled out. There's nothing wrong. Both ways it does the same thing, but I like it being perfect. So then I have to go about behind him, cutting him like a jackass. Yeah. Yeah.
Will you agree with what he just said right now?
Yeah, it's something.
He's way better now. Way better.
He has OCD, and I'm a little more aloof with things. So yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
No, but
And what do you-
like I would say when we started sailing, that was really like thing, but now Varun is like doing everything well.
What about you, Varun?
Gana's pet peeve is burping.
No, it's not burping. It's
Oh yeah, and him ticking with his tongue, like he makes it really sound loud tick. But that stopped. But now it's the burping. But I mean, it's funny.
yeah,
so.
probably. I agree.
I'm going to come to you with this one, Varun, first.
Yeah.
What is Gana's biggest strength, you would say? Or not necessarily sailing, just generally as well.
His biggest strength is actually a lot of things. To come out with one, I would just say his mentality when it comes to racing, especially. I mean, and he's a much more socialite than I am. So his strengths are that he does the socializing for the both of us.
That's nice. And Gana, what would you say is Varun's
I would
biggest
say
strength?
that that will to win, that drive, it's phenomenal. I would say that drive to win is really important. Like in the end, we are here to win, and Varun really drives it sometimes on the boat. Like sometimes I'm chilled out and all, but that fire and drive comes from there. But even I'm sometimes I get really relaxed, and Varun has to get me a little riled up and angry. I'm like a pit bull. No, but that solid drive, win at all costs. It's really important.
Awesome. The next one, your favorite, guess your teammate's favorite music genre. So, whoever wants to go first, Gana, you can probably guess. Oh, no,
Uh,
wait.
I would say like the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin and that age.
So, hard
Is that
rock and
80s?
metal.
80s,
Yeah,
70s?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
rock. Yeah, yeah.
I
So
wouldn't say
I
hard rock, but yeah, rock and metal. And then for
yeah
Ghana, I'm sure it's like more rap and hip hop and
yeah.
like a little more of
Gana, you are
old
my
school.
best friend. Gana, you are my best friend now.
No, reason being, I grew up listening to my parents play Rolling Stones and all of that, and I kind of got fed up. So I've like moved on to like more, I would say like mainstream music, and Varun likes the old, uh, older stuff. Like he's quite the music fan. You should see his what is it? iMusic library. It's pretty
Apple
good.
Music.
Yeah, Apple
Yeah.
Music. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
And like he buys what are those big CDs with that machine?
Records.
Like
Oh,
30,
wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
you're a
Really
collector
a
as well, huh?
classic.
yeah, real
So
classic.
I'm a sneaker collector and a vinyl disc collector. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
He
really cool.
impresses the babes with the records.
My next question is now for Varun. If Ghana wasn't a sailor, but now you know him so well, so which profession would you put him into?
I think if any, nothing to do with boats and all of that, man, I think he'll be like some managing director who's micromanaging or some HR person. Actually, I'm bullshitting. I'm laughing at the sun because he's there. But I see him more to do with something that involves hard labor or a machinery company, something like that, like something in that range. I'm not like yeah. I think like he has more fantasies with tools than you and I would probably have with anything else. But yeah, so
Would you agree with
Ghana, do
that?
you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
And what would be your answer for Varun? An alternate career you choose for Varun?
Alternate businessman making money. Like he'll have his own conglomerate of various companies, and like he's really good at what's the word? Giving work to people. Uh, Sorry.
Yeah,
Like
even delegating.
yeah,
Delegate.
delegating. Yeah, yeah. So he's really good at that, and I would see him as boss man, running companies, making a lot of money. I see him doing that.
I think I'm just setting myself up for the future, man. What after sailing, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't disagree to that.
Awesome. So thank you so much, Gana and Varun. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on board. There's a lot to
bro.
learn
Likewise.
from this for all our viewers. I hope everyone who tuned in enjoyed this. Do tune into the Olympics. Do not miss out on watching all our Indian athletes. Watch sailing for the first time if you haven't, because I'm telling you, it's going to be a thrill. From what we've gathered from these conversations, it's definitely going to be entertaining. Gana, this time we hope you don't end up falling in the water, of course.
But
Yeah,
then
I
what's
don't
the thrill without all of that, right?
Of course, of course. No, but we're super proud of what you have achieved for the country, and it gives me goosebumps just talking about it, and we're truly looking forward to it. Again, thank you so much. All the best, and we
All
look
the
forward
best,
to
guys. It
seeing
was
you.
great fun talking to you all.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right,
Likewise.
guys, just
Thank you.
Take care,
Bye.
guys. All the
Bye.
best.